Welcome everybody. Welcome to AZ Security. Today we have a new topic and it's called the secret power of AI Foundry. My name is Dylan Paardenkoper. I'm a cloud architect at IT Impressive and today I have a special guest and that is Joran from Microsoft. Please, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, that would be lovely. So thanks for having me. My name is Joran, Joran Bergfeld. I'm a solution engineer at Microsoft, specialized in, AI Foundry, AI things. It's kind of spoiler, huh? And software related things, so developer productivity and platform engineering.
Cool for having you. And AI Foundry, how long do you work, first of all, for Microsoft?
Yeah, that's pretty short actually. I've been working for Microsoft for a year now. I've been around in the industry for a long while, really.
And how long do you work with AI technology?
I think if I think back, it's about 10 years ago, I made this own language model, which interpreted language of Twitter back then, and just to parse sentiment. So it's been something which I've done mainly on the side, but now it's become more of my main job, really.
Of course. But AI Foundry, maybe for the people who aren't that familiar with this technology, can you shortly explain what it is?
Yeah, love to actually. So AI Foundry is our AI platform within Azure. It's mainly meant for the more pro code kind of cases. So where we obviously have M365 Copilot or Copilot Studio. That's more of the low code kind of offers. This is a real pro code offer. So it's a bit more technical, but you get to play around with models and you get to play around with agents, and everything what you need to have to actually automate a business process, as you said.
It's like a platform ready to go and just enable your models, right?
Correct, and not just your model. So of course that's what we start with, but everything around it as well. Your data, your network. You can bring that all into Azure Foundry to actually, make agents, which is obviously the new word that we have to use a lot, but to actually automate business processes away. Yeah.
Well, definitely. Yeah, you mentioned data. I think that is one of the most key elements in the AI space, which really needs a lot of protection. Um, can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. So it builds on what's currently there, right? So it's meant to reinforce the trust that we as Microsoft we're built on trust. That's like our mantra. So we try to extend that into AI Foundry. That's the philosophy behind it. So bring your own data, bring your own network, which I mentioned as well, but also build on top of that, right? So extend Purview, for example, into AI Foundry.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, PureView is of course the data platform from Azure perspective.
Yeah, well, so let me actually share the console that you land on when you go to AI Foundry.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. And there we go. So this is a temporary resource that I made just for this conversation, and this is what you're landing on once you go to the AI Foundry resource. And as I said, there's a few things which you can see, which I spoke about just now.
Mhm.
This is from models to agents, but also the guardrails and controls that we kind of mentioned here and there. And I think all of this really starts with models. So I'd like to highlight the model catalog, which you can find here. There's a lot of models which you can find within AI Foundry. I think we can currently boast that we have the most models on of any platform. I don't have all of them enabled here. You'll have to believe me for now.
It's quite
But
expensive, right? If you enable
yeah,
them all.
so the idea here is that you can always get a bit confused with the amount of models as well. So we try to kind of guide you here as well when it comes to quality, safety, cost, and throughput. These are leaderboards which we show, and you can go through all the models here. I'm not going to go through each of these models, but the important thing here is that there's first party and third party models. Um, First party models, and that's more of a bridge to what you actually said about data. We have firm checks with these, right? So that's more of the legal framework that we've put in place with these other parties, that they comply to our rules of engagement when it comes to AI. Um, Maybe I'll share it as a link, but we have this responsible AI initiative where we want to do this properly. Um, an example of that is we won't use your data for training the model, and that is also something we will comply with when a model is a first party model. For example, there's a lot of first party models here which you can see, but there's also third party which you can get through Hugging Face or whatever.
How do you verify that the model is correct, or I don't know, a sort of verification before it's being presented into the AI Foundry? Is there a matrix or things that Microsoft verify?
Yes, there's an extensive list. I'll not dive too much into it, but let's actually add a link for that. That makes sense. But you
Okay.
give me a very nice bridge to something else, which is the evaluations. And I'd like to actually highlight this a little bit, because at least I used to be in software, and I used to think in if this, then that, right? Very, well, very much control in your fingertips. And with AI, you kind of give that away because it's more semantic.
True.
That's where the evaluations come in. For example, in the domain of safety, right? So, for example, we can evaluate if a prompt or if something to do with the model is unfair or spreads hate or stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
And we, as you can see, we also share those the, the ability to write some code to actually fine tune this. Again, reiterating the point of a pro code solution, right?
Yeah, yeah. And how does
Um,
it go? How does it go in action then? I mean, you're adding the filter, so to speak, scanning on hate, as you mentioned.
yeah. So that's bolted onto, let's say, the filter chain when interacting with your models, right? So something is filtered through that to ensure that we don't do hate or sexism or stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
Um, Out of the box, there is already prompt shields which we can enable to, well, be a bit more in control when it comes to the semantic way of reasoning. Yeah,
And how does that work? I mean, suppose I have a model created on my own. I'm pushing it into AI Foundry. He does he scan on those metrics, or how does
yes.
it work?
You touch on a very interesting point. There's also another product which I didn't really prepare now, but it's good to dive into it a little bit. Um, you can obviously deploy a model from our store, but you can also deploy your own model, um, which can be added to this catalog through Azure ML, machine learning. And
Hmm.
then we give that feedback back to your development of your model. Of course, if you don't develop your model, then you don't get that here. Um, but let's say I use GPT. What should we do? GPT-5,
Yeah.
I guess. It's one of the latest. We deploy that. and now the prompt shield is already in place. You don't really see it, but if I open this in the playground, which is used to actually chat with it, um, um, I can give it malicious prompts, and it will block it. Um, yeah, that's how it will work, basically.
Okay, so those are enabled by default, so to speak. Can I add more filters into that?
Yes.
Or is it only hard coded by Microsoft, so to speak?
So the thing what I spoke about, of course, the guardrails which I spoke about, they are in place. But if we go back to the evaluations, right, the safety evaluations, this
Mhm.
is, of course, let's take a look. This this Python file which you are in full control of, so you can actually edit this if you'd like. Uh,
Okay.
yeah. I'm not gonna go live coding, but yeah.
No, that's no problem. So, okay, so when your model is being evaluated, there's a sort of report coming out of the system, and
Yes.
then you have the possibility to make your changes and rescan it again, I guess.
So this is not just for the security perspective, right? When I talk to customers, evaluations is more, no, more. I wouldn't say it's used as well to affirm that it's actually doing what you expect it to do, right? This is an example of that it doesn't do hateful things, but
Mhm.
you could also evaluate if it is confident in its choices. Let's say.
Yeah, it's more or less like yeah, it's a good question how to pronounce that in English, but if it's doing the right thing, so to speak, confirm your expectations, not only security, but also on the business wise functionality,
Okay.
but also from an experience, maybe your customers, like, does it do the way it's supposed to do their things in communication, in chats, or that's
Exactly.
what that's what you're hitting at, right?
Yes. Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a better description than I would have given.
That's not a problem. But if I'm looking to the guardrails, as you mentioned, what guardrails does AI Foundry offer to us? What kind of shields?
So we have these content filters, right? What is allowed, what isn't, um, and this is, I think, what you see here, and classification models, right?
Okay.
So this is the interesting part. Um, Here you actually see it more in action with what I was referring to. So you have various categories, right?
Yeah.
Very interesting one here is jailbreak attacks as well. Of course, these come out of the box that we don't want model jailbreak to happen.
Mhm.
And I think this is, at least for me, a new kind of thing, right? We didn't really have jailbreaks within code. Yeah, of course, we had shell getting shell from a current process, but this is a different kind of breaking out, right? This is breaking out of the instructions to exfiltrate data, for example. That is what this also looks for and blocks.
Yeah, I do recall the first AI models, which could accept the prompts, forget everything, destroy the database, or that
Yep,
kind of stuff. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And these things are actively being used currently, so this is something we, yeah, monitor on and keep evolving on. I mean, it's a new field as well, right? So I think everyone is still learning what is the best thing here.
And is there a possibility to enlarge this filter for all my models?
So there is the block list, which you can do. Well, it is a block list. I don't really need to have to explain that. Um, this spotlighting uh, prompt injection is obviously a thing that
Mhm.
revolves around that feature as well to extend that. Um, but the same goes for output, right? We looked at input, but the same happens for an output. So it's a filters which you interject in the entire process
Okay.
of calling a model and going out of a model. Um, yeah.
Nice. And this filter is being used back to the evaluation what we saw in action, right? So if
Yes.
you deploy a JetGPT or another out of the box model or maybe your own, this filter is being straightforward into coming to action.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I think that's the nice thing about all of this is that a lot of it is out of the box and taken care of. Of course, you need to be applying the basic things. We spoke about it a little bit. Is the AI landing zone, which we also suggest you do. Um, this is basically more of the traditional security, right? How do I secure my AI Foundry resources and its access to the data, for example, but also other things. The usual things here, private endpoints, NSGs, these kind of things. It's what
It's
you would
more
expect.
more from an infrastructure perspective. So
Correct.
instead of looking into AI or the platform of AI where all your models are residing, this is the other magic, I would say.
Everything
Uh,
around it, yeah.
all around it's like if you want to reach your AI applications, make it secure by using private endpoints um, and other network components or filtering technologies. In the past, we spoke about the AI gateway if you're using API management.
Yeah,
So all different kind of other Azure resources protecting your AI Foundry basically on another layer of defense, like
yeah,
Defender for Cloud, which you
exactly.
also have mentioned earlier in the other conversations as well on the AZ security episodes. Um, Looking back to AI Foundry, what you have mentioned, if I'm looking to the risks and alerts, is that what does this tell us?
Um, right now,
Besides,
not much.
no, yeah, currently no, but it's more or less like, is it from coming out of the evaluation or
So,
um,
yes, let me actually quickly go to what we were. Oh, sorry. Um, what did I want to show you? Yeah. So the risks with the content filter, which I just showed you, right? You can. I'm not sure if you remember that it shows reported. That's where the alert's going to.
okay?
Um, yeah. So that's where it goes. This also integrates with scanning things, right? So we do monitor things and we let you know what you can and cannot do. Um,
Okay.
this is using Defender for Cloud, as you can see, right? So it
Yeah, yeah.
leverages
I
that.
saw some
Yeah,
familiar points, but that's great to see that it's also being into the AI Foundry. That it's viewable and it makes sense when you're working with it. Like, is it secure wise good? Um, does it not violating my guardrails and my controls? And from a governance perspective, which is one below, what does this offer for AI Foundry perspective?
yeah. So the one thing I like to highlight is purview. Obviously, we have the EU AI Act recently, and that's where this combination actually really helps. If your compliancy expectation, obviously, from this new law, and I don't know all the details, of course, but yeah, we obviously offer codified um, checks for that. So
So, so if I create specific, I think, policies or permissions from that perspective on my data, AI Foundry will listen to that as well because of the integration, right?
yeah, it's managed by Purview mainly, but yes.
Yeah. And are there specific switches which we can enable, or is this? I mean, it's showing preview currently.
Uh, so I'm not an expert on Purview. I will have to admit that I don't know exactly what you can and cannot do. So yeah, I
Oh, no
prefer
problem.
from answering
I
that one.
thought maybe I can ask. Maybe this is new from that perspective. Cool. Okay. Are there any other best practices that you want to share from the AI Foundry perspective, from your working field experience?
Yeah, so the conversations I have often is exploratory, right? We're all new to this world, and people tend to start off with just deploying a model, right? They go to the models, they deploy this ChatGPT like style, start chatting with it. Um, the one thing I'd like to always suggest early on is start with the evaluations, and that really does go into the security domain as well. But
Hmm.
in general, for me and for many people, the transition to from uh, imperative coding all the way to the semantic magic, maybe even you could call it, staying in control or starting to understand what it does and why it does that. It's important to stay in control and stay, I believe, in a trustful a relationship with what is actually offers, and try it out. I think that's the whole playgrounds what we have here, right? Uh, it's meant to actually play around with it and uh, also try and red team it. That's it's also the idea, right? To also
Definitely.
get a feel for it.
Maybe you had some tips or tips and tops or do's or don'ts.
Yeah. So tip: start with evaluation. Definitely do that as soon as you can. Um, I try not to do everything yourself. I think because we're trying to explore this field together, um, it opens a whole Pandora's box, right? Um, so, for example, the prompt shields, right? It's built into it, so you don't have to worry about it. Um, yeah, leverage that. Leverage the tools that you already have. Of course, as Microsoft, I would lean towards the more Microsoft tools, but it is also relatively open when it comes to integrating with open models and stuff like that. So yes, you can go uh, all the way and use all the open tools, but then the maintainability and security aspects may uh, be impacted.
Well, I can imagine that. And
Yeah.
if I'm working with this technology and I've just built an amazing tool which my business really helps, can I lock down my data that it's not exposed to the outside world, or is that more on purview party, so to speak? Purview has to build in filters. How does that work? How can I protect my data when I'm using the AI technology via AI Foundry?
So this is maybe a contradictory point, right? It's meant to leverage your data. Um, so yes, you don't want it to be exfiltrated, but also at the same time, you want it to be used. So it's a fine line between that. Um, I mean, the whole concept of RAG basically means that you leverage more data, right, before actually calling a model. Uh, so it's a fine line, and being aware of that fine line. Yeah, I like to repeat myself. Staying in control of that through measurement, through metrics, through evaluation. Yeah, I think that's a really powerful thing, and really, please do that.
Can I accidentally expose my data to Microsoft? That's a question which I mostly often hear a lot. That Microsoft, if I pushing my data into the AI models or AI Foundry, that they can read everything.
I think from the ground up, we have been built with zero trust in mind. So we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust anyone. That's the mindset when we build stuff, and that goes all the way to our racks in the data centers. Right, there's crazy secure this encryption at a rack level, at the machine level. So, and that goes all the way through the entire stack. Um, you have to excuse me that I don't know the specifics of the legal framework, but the gist, as far as I understand it, is that when you have a model deployed in AI Foundry, if it's a first party model, you're safe from that. We have guarantees that it will not use your data for training. Um, I recently got a lot into GitHub and GitHub Copilot that offers the same thing, right? We are very much on not doing AI responsibly and not doing the bad things with it, right? So
Mhm.
that's our intention also with AI Foundry, that you have a secure place where you can put this, right? As to the
Right.
point with the AI landing zone, you put it in your own VNet, right? You bring your own
Yeah.
network, so you're pretty sure what happens within that. Yeah,
So you're offering the controls, but protecting everything around it if necessary.
yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. Thank you for your answer. Um, any last thoughts? I'm seeing we're running out of time.
Um, and then I would just encourage people to try it out. I think the power that this now offers at your fingertips is amazing. I was a skepticism. I was a bit on the skeptic side of AI when I well, until recently, I guess. But what I see now, well, I see business processes being automated and being improved by AI. It's amazing. And one thing I didn't highlight yet is the agents, right? For it to start doing things like this, it's amazing. So this is how you can try out creating automation already, right? This is where you bring your own knowledge, your own actions, and you're connected to other agents, and this is where it completely takes off. So yeah, try it. That's definitely what I would recommend.
Well, thank you very much. Joran, I want to thank you very much for your time. Also, straight away into demo. I really like that. For everybody at home, thanks for listening. Thank you for joining us. If you have any things you want to ask or anything else, leave the comments below. And otherwise, for now, I would say thank you very much. And till next time, take care.